Now, the member for Guelph has given notice of dissatisfaction with a question that was put to the Minister of Finance. However, that question was about the old OMB rules, and so the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the member from Stormont, Dundas, South Glengarry, will respond. So first, we turn to the member from Guelph, who will have up to 5 minutes to state his case on this matter.
So, Mr. Speaker, I just want to thank the colleagues opposite for staying late tonight to give the parliamentary assistant the opportunity to answer my question. So on Thursday, Mr. Speaker, I asked the Premier why he had decided to revive the old municipal board rules that have burdened municipalities so heavily in the past, dragging them into costly quasi-judicial disputes to defend their local planning decisions. In my home riding of Guelph, the city had to pay over $1 million in 3 years alone to adjudicate OMB hearings. That is why I also asked the government if they had done any analysis of the anticipated legal costs for municipalities, given that these costs will ultimately be borne by taxpayers. Speaker, the answer I was given by the Minister of Finance never mentioned the OMB, didn't even mention housing. So I figured I'd give the government an opportunity to answer this important question, because this is a huge issue for municipalities and for local citizens groups especially. AMO has worked on this issue for years, and they all deserve a clear answer. Any government that claims to respect taxpayers should show them some respect by answering the questions I asked about bringing back the old OMB rules, which cost municipalities and citizens so much money. For years, the OMB allowed local planning decisions to be overturned, undermining the decisions made by democratically elected councillors. It allowed a few deep-pocketed developers to run roughshod over local interests. And cities and towns across Ontario were forced to empty their pockets just to protect their local planning decisions. The old system did not work for the people of Ontario, and it was a good day for democracy when the OMB was dismantled. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the members opposite, when they were in opposition, felt exactly the same way. In December of 2017, when this was brought before the legislature, all parties unanimously voted to dismantle the OMB. Now that the members opposite are in government, I guess they've changed their mind, and they want to bring back the old OMB rules. So it's no wonder that councillors and mayors across the province have been vocal in their opposition to this regressive move. And I know just a few minutes ago when we were debating Bill 108, I quoted the Mayor of Aurora, Tom Marakis, who was the chair of the OMB Working Group and Planning Committee. Member from Carleton, your fourth come to order, please. The next one will be awarded. Quoted again. Once again, and I quote, "An unelected, unaccountable body will get to decide what is best for our community when it comes to growth and development. This is not a decision for the people. The ability to manage growth in our communities has just taken a huge step backwards, and it's unacceptable." End quote. The people who live in communities, Mr. Speaker, should have the final to say about how their community grows. There are many good developers in this province, and I believe government should work with those developers, not hand the keys to the province over to a few of them. So this government talks a lot about the fact that they respect taxpayers. And I'm here to say that this move does not respect taxpayers. It won't solve the housing crisis, but it will likely lead to more expensive subdivisions being built on prime farmland. It will likely lead to more sprawl that will eat up endangered species habitat. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm worried, I'm a little nervous that I'm not going to get a straight answer on my question. But I believe the people of Ontario deserve a straight answer. And so I'll ask at least one more time, can the members opposite at least tell us if they've done any analysis on how much municipalities can expect to pay in legal fees as a result of reviving the old OMB rules?
Thank you. The Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Mr. McDonnell, the member from Stormont, Dundas, South Glengarry, will have up to 5 minutes to respond.
Use it all.
Up to.
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to begin by stating that our government first and foremost believes everyone deserves a place to call home.
Here, here.
We want to put affordable home ownership in reach of more Ontario families and provide more people with the opportunity to live closer to where they work. We want to make sure that each person in Ontario can find a home no matter what their income or what stage of life they're in. And the fact remains, Mr. Speaker, that an inadequate supply has led to high housing costs and has made housing unattainable for far too many people in Ontario. We are committed to increasing housing supply in this province. That's why on May 2nd, our government was proud to introduce More Homes, More Choices, Ontario's housing action supply.
What a great bill.
We plan to address Ontario's housing crisis and help build more homes that are affordable. Mr. Speaker, the existing process to get new housing approved across Ontario is not working for the people of Ontario, and we've heard the member talk about that. The process of hearing land use planning appeals of the local planning appeal tribunal in its present form has slowed the planning process, decision-making process, to a halt. Right now, there's a backlog of legacy cases from the former Ontario Municipal Board before the tribunal. Approximately 100,000 residential units in Toronto alone are affected by appeals and are still waiting a decision. This backlog is preventing housing from being built and preventing Ontario from growing. The fact is, Mr. Speaker, that a prolonged appeals process while Ontario is in the middle of a housing crisis is unacceptable. In our extensive consultations, which led to the development of our Housing Supply Action Plan, we heard that getting housing built across Ontario is just too difficult. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to be clear on this point. We heard that this not only from home builders, but also from more important stakeholder, the people. Through Bill 108, the More Homes, More Choice Act, and the investment in the new tribunal adjudicators, we are proposing changes that will make sure that local planning appeals tribunal has all the information and resources that it needs to make fair, just, and timely decisions. Our proposed changes at the local planning appeal tribunal take the best from both the OMB and the tribunal to create a system that can make the final decisions in a timely manner, and that would produce housing where and when it's needed. We're proposing to give the tribunal greater adjudicative and case management powers, and we propose amendments to encourage the use of mediation to simplify processes and remove potential delays. So, Mr. Speaker, our government always wants to ensure that barriers are removed for those seeking to launch an appeal at the local planning appeals tribunal. And critics of our proposed changes clearly have not done their homework. And I'm not saying that of you, but we have had, if they had, they would have seen that they are proposing to give the tribunal discretion to charge different fee levels, which would help maintain affordability in the appeals process. In addition, we are adding up to 11 new adjudicators, which is a 45% increase to help clear the backlog over the next year and a half. Eliminating the backlog will reduce delays, ensure the local planning appeals tribunal can deliver fair and timely decisions in the interest of the people and the communities across Ontario. Thank you.